I've spent 25 years fighting wildfires in Southern California. This was the Palisades fire. Steep terrain, wind pushing off the mountains, homes built right into the brush. When conditions line up, fire can move faster than most people realize. But what surprised me is that halfway around the world, firefighters are dealing with almost the exact same problem. This isn't California, this is Croatia. And standing here for the first time, I couldn't ignore how familiar it felt. The terrain is strikingly similar. It's actually geologically orientated the same. It is a east-west mountain range, which is very unique. And when that happens in Southern California, that helps to produce some of the worst wildfires that we get in places like Malibu and Santa Barbara. It's steep, rocky terrain covered with brush and vegetation. It's also in that brush, tons of homes that can be threatened by wildfires. In Southern California, that alignment is made worse by powerful offshore winds, the Santa Anas. Well, guess what? Just as I suspected, because of the similar climate and topographic setup, Croatia does in fact have a very similar offshore, dry northeast wind that can crank at over 130 miles an hour. And here in Croatia, this devastating wind event is called Bura. Different country, very similar fire behavior potential. Even though it's now apparent how many similarities and same challenges they have over here in Croatia, it is in Europe, and I want to find out how firefighters over here prepare and operate to protect one of the Mediterranean's most beautiful and fire-prone coastlines. Croatia has definitely seen a ton of history over the years. There's a couple of thousands of years of well-documented civilizations and well-documented cultures. The cities here weren't built during modern expansion. They were shaped over thousands of years. First, it started with the Greeks. The Greeks were probably the first to leave some lasting civilizations in cities. There are several cities here that have been around and established from the Greek colonies. After the Greeks, it was the Romans. The Romans took over this area and established and built a lot. There's still so many Roman ruins to see and experience, especially the Diocletian's palace in the city of Split. And after the Romans, the Byzantines took over for a while, and there was a constant threat of the Ottoman Turks. The Venetians helped to hold this in check for a while and protect from the Turks, but then they too stayed and established their empire along the Dalmatian coast. And there are so many different Venetian architecture and influence in the area, which I think is some of the most beautiful along the coast in this area. And even more recently, within the last 200 to 150 years, the French Napoleonic Empire. And in the late 1800s, the Austria-Hungarian Empire governed this whole area. Each empire left its mark, especially in architecture. Stone construction, narrow alleyways that were made for pedestrians and livestock. They created tight corridors that were built long before vehicles existed. These cities were never designed for fire engines. And yet, in the late 1800s, organized fire brigades began forming here. They were influenced heavily by Central European systems. One of the brigades I visited was founded in 1883. That's more than 140 years of organized fire service layered into cities that are way older than that.
We are one of the oldest in Croatia and the oldest in this part of Croatia.
The history doesn't just make this place interesting and gorgeous, it shapes how they respond to fire. In 2007, a fast-moving wildfire ignited on the Kornati Islands. 13 firefighters were inserted by helicopter. 12 of them never returned. On the island of Kornat in Croatia's Kornati National Park, there's a memorial for these brave men. Today, 12 massive stone crosses stand on that hillside, built exactly where they fell. It's a massive hillside monument. That fire changed how they operate. Safety became priority number one. And for me, this story, it hits a bit close to home as I've been flown in and inserted by helicopter mid-flank on some fast-moving fires. I know how quickly fire behavior can change. This coastline may look like a vacation destination, but it's a working fire environment. One of the biggest differences between Croatia and Southern California is resources. In the Los Angeles County area, if a fire escalates, we can call engines, aircraft, and dozers, sometimes arriving within minutes. Here, many stations operate with limited firefighters on shift. And how many of you are on duty today? Four? Most Croatian fire brigades are DVD volunteer brigades. Alongside them are professional units known as JVPs. Their sense of local responsibility and professionalism is definitely still apparent in the way that they operate to this day. Some engines are specifically designed to fit through the medieval streets. A big challenge that I see here that I've never seen in the United States is because it's like an ancient town, the old town, like you can't even hardly walk in there. So I'm sure like the trucks can only get so close, and then
They made a two small vehicle that can go inside that street.
hydrants are hidden beneath steel plates and stone walkways.
But like steel plates, you know, it's like over there, you see that?
Yeah.
We lift it, and there's a special like hydrant called Dubrovnik.
On island communities, reinforcement apparatus has to be transported by boat. Access limitations and ancient construction present Croatian fire brigades with huge obstacles to fire response, which means crews must adapt. Like here today, there's only 4 of you until somebody else gets there to arrive. So it looks like to me, you have to be very good at being adapting, like you said, adapting with just what you have, because nobody's coming for a really long time. They train knowing backup may not be immediate. They operate knowing resources are finite, and they show up anyway. What stands out to me about the Dubrovnik firefighters is how structured their training is. What's typical with your fitness, like you said, maybe after lunch or after break, you might go to the gym. What kind of workouts do you guys do?
We go full gear, we go circle over here with barbells. There's a big truck tire, flipping it and with the hammer, things like that. It's 40 kilos each, and you go up the stairs.
They're consistent. They train with a purpose, and everything they do matches the demands of their environment. Their training isn't random, it's structured. After more than 20 years leading firefighters, I've learned something simple. Most guys don't need more intensity, they need direction. About 10 years ago, I started periodizing my workouts around fire season, rotating focus in structured training phases instead of trying to build everything all at once. I've learned there's a certain season to focus on certain goals. There's a season to build raw strength, one for developing more power, one that's ideal for hybrid endurance, and a season where you have to focus on durability during peak demand. The key is knowing which season you should be in right now. That kind of planned rotation keeps you progressing without burning out. Structure is what allows me, even during the fire season or traveling with my family, to stay consistent without guessing. It's not about crushing yourself with workouts, it's about building the right thing at the right time. That's why I built a system to figure out what to build and when to do it. If you're ready to train with a purpose and lead with strength, take the free quiz to find out exactly which training phase you should be in right now. It's linked in the description. But training is only part of the story. To really understand how firefighters operate here, you have to step inside the firehouse, and that's where something started to feel very familiar. Inside the station, the rhythm feels so similar to the assignments that I've worked. Morning briefings, coffee, equipment check, training drills, and workouts with your team to make sure that you're always physically prepared. The language spoken here sounds different, but the firehouse humor and having fun is definitely similar. Their pride and commitment is definitely at the same high standard I'm used to seeing in the US. But the real test of whether this job is just work or a calling that can pull you past discomfort, it usually shows up the first time things get dangerous.
You think you can do it until you feel the heat. Once you feel the heat, then the next step is come back. Once you can come back, then you're doing something good. If the amount of heat, once you feel it, that's the moment you decide. Are you gonna stay or are you gonna leave?
Firefighters everywhere understand that kind of moment, when you decide whether or not you belong. It's universal. When I think about recent devastating wildfires along California's southern coast, fires like the ones in Malibu and Palisades, I think of steep terrain, wind-driven fire fronts, communities sitting right next to dry brush. I realize just how similar these environments truly are. But here in Croatia, they typically operate with fewer resources, older infrastructure, and smaller crews. Yet the mission is the same. Protect lives, protect communities at risk, and make sure you're showing up ready to go. It's a different system with a very different history, but the same calling. And that's exactly what I'm exploring, how firefighters protect communities around the world. So if you want to see how the job is done in other places, be sure to stick around.